Hey there guys, welcome back to the channel, or welcome if it's your first time. In this video, I'm looking at the Moondrop Kadenz. Now this is the follow-up IEM to the Moondrop KATO, and if what I've been reading is correct, or if I'm understanding correctly, this is the last product in that particular series. So it's going to be interesting. Let's get it. What's cracking, audio fans? David here from Prime Audio Reviews, and the Kadenz. Oh yes, look at that. So we're going to start off with the shells. They are obviously similar to the Starfield and the Starfield 2, and of course the KATO. We've got a new finish on these. They are sandblasted, so I think we're well and done with any worries, any concerns about the paint falling or chipping off. So don't worry about the paint job at all. The finish feels fantastic, and I just love these faceted inner faces of the shells here. They look unreal. But of course, I should tell you the price, which is normally $189. Right now, we're in the middle of the Singles Day sales on AliExpress and other places. So we're looking at, let me see now. Right now, we're looking at $160 you can get these for. So keep that in mind. Now, inside here, we've got a 10mm dynamic driver. It's a diamond-coated composite diaphragm driver, and it is the second generation of Moondrop's super linear dynamic driver. Take that however you will. In the end, it all comes down to how they sound, really, doesn't it? Let's look at the cable now, and it's basically the same as the KATO cable. It's really lovely. It's beautiful. It's quite thick. It's also quite stiff. It's a little bit stiffer than I would like, but it's not really a problem. It's not hard to handle or anything. Now, it's not modular, surprisingly, like a lot of recent IEM cables in this sort of price range are. It's slowly becoming the norm, really. But this one is not modular. It comes with a 4.4mm balanced termination, but fear not, because if you have a single-ended source, you can use this little adapter, which just clicks on, and now you can use your 3.5mm source. Or what else you can do is plug in this little guy. Little dongle DAC basically is what it is, and you can use this in conjunction with the Moondrop app, and you can get your EQ, all those DSP effects going on, so you can basically tune these kind of however you want within the limits of the drivers, of course. So that is pretty cool. I can't remember off the top of my head what this little extension is called, but it comes free in the package, so that's all good. When it comes to comfort, these are really good, just like the KATO and the Starfield, for me at least. Very comfortable. Oh, one other thing I should mention, these nozzles are removable, but they are not, it comes with 3 pairs of nozzles, but they are not tuning filters. They are just very, very slightly different lengths, and that is for, getting the perfect fit depending on your individual ear anatomy. Personally, I think it's completely unnecessary, but who's complaining? If they want to throw it in without increasing the price, I'm all for it. Enough with all that. Let's talk about how they sound, and the word that comes to mind first for me is lean. So you could call it neutral. I don't know. Neutral, sometimes it's hard to define. I would call this a lean sound signature. It's kind of a variation of Moondrop's VDSF, or virtual sound diffuse field, or virtual diffuse sound field, I should say, and which kind of is what the KATO was based on. But this one has been refined, if you take that with a grain of salt, however you will. But what it basically means is, well, let's just jump straight into this comparison. I know not everybody has heard the KATO, but I'm just going to start comparing these right away. So compared to the KATO, the Kadenz has less bass. It's got less meat on the bones, and that means it's got a thinner lower mid-range as well. Now, the bass extension is pretty good. Like, it does reach nice and deep. However, the quantity is very bare. It's just barely there. And of course, some people like that. Personally, I like a bit more meat on the bones in the lows, but that's just how it is. But for people who don't have the KATO, let me just try and first of all explain the sound signature of the Kadenz here. So it's neutral, you might say neutral bright. It has a very neutral quantity of bass. The bass quality is excellent, of course. It's got very good control. It's got very good definition, pretty good texture, but just it lacks warmth, it lacks body and punch, especially in the mid bass, although the sub bass notes, despite being meager in quantity, like I said, the depth or the extension in the bass is pretty good. Then, of course, you've got the mid-range, which is lean. You've got a slightly thinner than natural note size. And what Moondrop is trying to cater for here is the audiophiles who want the highest fidelity. And again, that's not necessarily a bad thing. So the mids are fairly lean. They are very articulate. There's good spacing in between instruments and vocals in the mid-range. And of course, there is good clarity there as well. You get nice, clean transients. But, you know, male vocals, they lack a bit of richness and a bit of power. However, they are very clean sounding. And as you get into the upper mid-range, we've got that classic Moondrop boosted upper mids, which means female vocals are nice and bright. You know, the driver quality here, it's actually an excellent driver. So despite, even if I don't like the tuning per se, the quality of the audio is pretty good. Like, you get those nice, vibrant forward highs. But again, they are on the leaner side of neutral, not exactly what I would call musical or completely organic and natural. Then we've got the treble, and the treble is fine. The treble is really good, actually. It is nice and airy, it's precise, it's crisp, it is not sharp or sibilant. It has been improved somewhat compared to the KATO. I think it is now a bit smoother. And yeah, I don't really have any complaints about the treble, only compliments really. It's a fairly airy treble, although it's not really forward and bright and sparkling. But you know what? It doesn't need to be because of the quantity of bass is so neutral, let's say, that the treble doesn't need to fight to be heard and sort of shine. So it does have pretty good extension and nice bit of airiness up there. The detail retrieval is good. You know what, the technicalities overall are pretty good. They're above average on this IM. I guess that's what Moondrop was going for. They're catering to that specific audience. In terms of overall musicality, it rates sort of just okay. It is not the most engaging for me, at least. I like a bit more naturalness, a bit more body and fullness. But I have to admit, it does have a great soundstage. It does have good instrument separation and detail retrieval. I'd say the overall resolution, it's pretty good, but it does lack a bit of depth just due to having that attenuated level of bass. So yeah, compared to the KATO, I prefer the KATO. I find it a bit more musical, a little bit more dynamic. It's just, it's got more bass and it's got a little bit more treble. But it's also got forward mids as well. So I just find it a little bit better musically. Whereas the Kadenz, you can say it performs better technically, but for me, it's just not as engaging. And then we've got the SimGot EA1000. Now, normally this is a bit more expensive. It's slightly over $200. But at the moment, during the sale, it's as low as $189, which is the MSRP of the Kadenz here. So compared to the Kadenz, the EA1000 has a little more bass. It's got more sub bass and mid bass. It's got slightly more fullness in the lower mid range. Then it does have a bit of an extra peak in the presence range compared to the Kadenz as well. So you could say it's just slightly more upfront across the board from top to bottom. So it's got very good detail retrieval. I would say it might even be better than the Kadenz in terms of detail retrieval. In terms of technicalities, you know, they're pretty close. They're about on par, but personally, I prefer the sound signature of the EA1000. Again, just that little bit of extra body in the lows makes the difference for me. It sounds more natural and it sounds more engaging. And yeah, that's basically it. So look, that is the Moondrop Kadenz IEM. It is good, especially now if you get it at that price of $160. It's good if you're, like I said, if you want those bragging rights on Reddit about your technicalities and how good the soundstage is, then sure, go ahead and grab a pair of these. But if you're looking for something that sounds really natural, organic, then, you know, you probably got better options out there. However, at the end of the day, I have to concede that it is another good IEM from Moondrop. And with that said, I'm going to wrap it up there. Thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, Pa Family Audiophile style. If you're new here, consider hitting that subscribe button before you go. And until next time, I'll see you later.